I will call the council meeting of June 12th, 2024 to order. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Anna, will you please call roll?
Bilski.
Here.
Foster.
Here.
Madden.
Here.
Perry. Here. Allner. Vincent. Silver.
Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report for March and April of 2024?
So moved.
Thank you, Stacy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ryan. Dana?
Good evening. Okay, you have 2 months here. You have March and April. So in March, we had $18,200,000 in the bank, and our March revenues from all sources was $3,602,000, and our March expenditures was just over $800,000. And the reason for the variance is that we received the Pinecrest TIF property taxes, but that didn't get paid out until May. Once we get all the paperwork all squared away with the county. And then you have the revenue and expenditure report for March 31st, which is our quarterly report, so you have all funds, not just the general fund. The general fund's revenues were at 25%, and the expenditures were at 19%. And I noted any timing variances in there for your information. And it has all the other funds, and there was nothing out of the ordinary in that report. And then in April, we had $18,204,000 in the bank account. Our April revenues from all funds were $728,000, and our April expenses for all funds was $725,000. And then again, you have the detailed report. We're at 33% of the year, and our revenue was at 31%, and our expenditures was at 25% for April. That's all I have for that report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Anna, will you please call roll?
Bilski.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Madden. Perry. Yes. Allner.
Yes.
Vincent.
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. All right. Is there a motion to approve the tax administrator's report for March and April of 2024?
Moved. A second.
Lisa, and thank you, Stacy.
The tax administrator report for March showed monthly gross collections at $423,000 compared to March of 2023 of $441,000, so a reduction of about $18,000. And year-to-date, we're down about $43,000 from the same year-to-date of the prior year. And then in April, we collected, gross collections were $460,000 compared to about $505,000 for April of 2023, which is a reduction of about $44,000. So year-to-date through April, we're down about $88,000 from where we were the previous year. And we're still watching the timing for the next 2 months for income tax collections. In my review of it, it looks like it's mostly individual withholding, so I'm thinking it has to do with timing of estimated tax payments and filing of returns. But I'll continue to monitor that. That's all I had on that, and if you want to do roll call, and then I did have another report I wanted to discuss.
Any questions or comments? Anna, please call roll.
Bilski.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Madden.
Yes.
Perry. Yes. Allner.
Yes.
Vincent.
Yes.
Silver.
Yes.
And just kind of wanted to give a brief report that our audited financial statements for the years ended December 31st, 2023 and 2022 have been completed. We do a 2-year audit. The auditor states had subcontracted it out to a CPA firm, Charles E. Harris. This is the first time that, that they have performed our audit. They gave us a clean opinion for our regulatory basis of accounting, which is a cash basis. And so generally accepted accounting practices are accrual basis, which is done by cities. Villages don't have to follow that same requirement per the Ohio Revised Code. So they did the audit in accordance with what most villages do, is a cash basis of accounting. We got a clean opinion. They said everything was presented fairly in all material respects. And the financial report for the 2 years can be found on their Auditor Estate website. So you could Google Auditor Estate for Ohio. They have a search app, and you can put in Orange Village, and it'll show you all of our financial audits that we've had over the years with them. And it was my understanding that just a couple days ago that this was added onto their website. So I just wanted to let everybody know that had occurred.
Okay, very good, thank you.
One comment, I've been going to these auditor reports for many, many years, and this is the first time that the auditors really kind of called out Dana and commended her for her ability to send them information extremely quickly, efficiently, have everything that they needed and organized in a manner that they used. It saved them time and money and effort, and they said that that doesn't always happen in other cities and villages. They really called her out for that, so thank you. Jane.
Thank you, Lisa. Moving on to discussion of the bills to be paid in the month of June in the amount of $243,860.42, and additional May expenses in the amount of $2,595,014.11. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, moving on. Are there any audience comments related to agenda items? If there are, please step to the mic.
Somebody put their
Moving on then. Discussion of ordinance 2023-28. This was passed in January, and it was an ordinance declaring a 6-month moratorium on accepting for filing and considering, reviewing, and approving applications for marijuana sales and related activities in Orange Village, prohibiting the sale of marijuana in Orange Village for 6 months and declaring an emergency. So this is set to expire, 6 months from when we passed it, I assume, which will probably be the end of July or so. End of this month? We approved it in January, didn't we?
January 10th. So July 10th.
Okay. We're starting to get a little more clarity from the state on how this is going to work. I think some dispensaries are starting to open soon, if I'm not mistaken, or?
Well, I think the first batch will be people that are, dispensaries that are already selling medical marijuana, because they're previously approved.
Here's the deal.
microphone, please.
As I mentioned, I just returned from Columbus. That's why I'm wearing a suit. I was at the State House all day, and they are no closer to establishing rules and regulations that apply to the sale and dispensing of recreational marijuana today than they were on January 1st. And I recommend that we continue the moratorium at least for 9 months, because it's not even going to be looked at in the next session of the state legislature. So it's a ways away before anything is out there, and in talking, I spent the day with a number of my colleagues from other cities, and where they do have moratoriums, they are keeping them in place. And I think we should continue ours at the very least for 9 months, till after next year and the new legislature is in place.
If we don't have a moratorium, people can't come in now and apply for a area to put a dispensary until the state figures out. I voted no last time, and I'm going to vote no again, because I really feel like that's our stopgap, and this is unnecessary. And if it's for, say, I doubt this will happen, but you know, if the state makes a decision more quickly than 6 months, I think it was very clear from the vote of the public that this is something people want. And I don't want to have an additional layer to that.
Be in favor of just doing this 6 months at a time until the state gets this
I was just gonna say the same, 6 months. It's in-
We talked about when this first came up in January, doing a year, and then we said, we asked the question, can we extend at the end of 6 months? And because they're no further along, I mean, this was the reason we pushed it 6 months, waiting to see what happened, and since they haven't come up with answers yet, would be in favor of 6 months as well.
Just need a new ordinance next meeting or so.
Has there been any language about where it could be, so if it passed, where would it be? Like, should it be away from schools or away from certain areas or churches, anything like that?
When the state issues the regulations, they will have that information.
Oh, too, won't it?
Well, it may be allowed as a commercial enterprise in any place where retail sales. At that point, illegal retail sales.
I'm not sure I think we need a moratorium. It would be a legal business in the state. I'm not sure what the issue would be. In states where it's legal and they have, some of the areas in Boston, downtown Boston, I was like, curious.
Microphone, please.
The nearest dispensary, and it was directly across the street. So I'm not sure that I see something bad.
I wonder why he doesn't pick up.
I think the thinking is it's something new and different, and we've gotten very little guidance from the state on how this will work. So we're not this is not an outright ban on it. It's just a moratorium for 6 months before the state can kind of give us some guidance on how this will work. So.
Places that you've been that have had these dispensaries and people are able to enjoy that activity are clearly in communities where some of those regulations and requirements by those communities have been established. We don't have any. There's no regulation that says how they're, not only is it how they're dispensing it and what are the regulations, but where does the money go? Where does the tax revenue go that comes as a result of the sale of recreational marijuana? At this point, there's a number of issues that are still being wrangled in the legislature.
In and out.
They have a better view on it. We ought to just say, we're not going to even entertain someone submitting for a permit, because if we have if we don't have a moratorium, it seems to me that somebody could submit for a permit, and then it could we have to grant it at some point.
Mayor, would it be possible, is this something we could include? I know we've got the survey coming out soon. Is this something to find out? I know we heard about how the voting went in the state, but I'd be curious to know specifically in our area how people feel about a dispensary in their backyard. Is that something that could be one of the survey questions or a part of the survey in some way?
Consider it's done.
Reject it. You've got a minute.
You could see the
I have a
vote
question.
too. Like,
I'm reading the ordinance we passed last year, and it says, moratorium, blah, 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 for a period of 6 months from the date of enactment of this ordinance through December 31st, 2024.
That's an error.
Okay.
That's an error.
So which is it, though?
It would be 6 months.
Okay. Okay.
good catch.
Is anyone opposed to us just doing another 6-month moratorium? Getting that in the agenda next month? I mean, you can always, if you're, you can vote no on the moratorium, but is anyone opposed to it being on the agenda? Okay.
Opposed to being on the agenda, and I'm also not opposed to the moratorium.
I'm sorry?
Not opposed to being on the agenda, and I'm not opposed to it being to the moratorium itself.
Okay. Moving on, old business, ordinance 2024-8, an ordinance amending subsection 1170.04A, area regulations of the codified ordinances of Orange Village and declaring an emergency. This is on for the third reading. It has been recommended by planning and zoning. Are there any questions or comments? All right, Anna, please call roll.
Do we do a motion for passage?
We did not. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2024-8? Thank you. I will make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jeff. Now will you please call roll?
Bilski?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Madden?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes.
Allner?
Yes.
Vincent? Silver?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2024-9 as amended? This is an ordinance agreeing to adjust the boundaries between, actually, I'm sorry, this is on for second reading. 2024-9 is an ordinance agreeing to adjust the boundaries between Orange Village and the city of Beechwood pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 709.37, and zoning the new territory.
Remember, we have changed that caption.
Oh, sorry.
The agenda wasn't changed, but the caption on the ordinance has been changed.
So, and the new
Is that
territory.
what the amended is? Is that what that's referring to? What was changed?
Well, just, it's not zoning new territory. When we previously, the boundary line with Beechwood, or wanted to do that, some area was coming into Orange Village, which needed to be zoned.
Right.
It ends.
At this time, it's just going to Beechwood.
I
Okay.
apologize, my mistake.
Mayor, has Beechwood passed this yet? Do we need to pass it more quickly, or can this wait till third reading?
It could wait till third reading. There's another step in the process that includes this going to the county council for acceptance and ratification before anything further can happen to it. So we can take the vote at the next session.
Other questions or comments? Okay, moving on. Ordinance 2024-11. Ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter in a development agreement with Omni Property Companies LLC to develop a portion of the land for senior residential, recreational, and shopping complex. This is on for the second reading. And the administration is requesting suspension of the rules. First of all, are there any questions or comments relating to ordinance 2024-11? Hope everyone had a chance to review it, read it over.
Is this the time to ask the question about? Sure. Okay. I was asking our attorney to clarify about the portion of the parcel being reserved for a potential fire station.
That's in the agreement. That's something that the village has determined that there's a need to have fire facilities in that quadrant. The developer has agreed to make a portion of the property that would have otherwise been park property available for the safety services. And even if you decide never to do it, it's good to have that issue decided now, because once it goes into conservation, you can't carve out the exception. So that's why we're carving out the exception. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be building a fire station there, but it reserves the opportunity for you to do so.
Could anything else be put there if this goes through as it's stated right now?
No, it's just for the
Just for the-
purpose of safety facilities, fire station.
Questions or comments? Is there a motion to suspend the rules to approve ordinance 2024-11?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Ryan. Is there a second? Thanks, Jeff. Anna, will you please call roll on suspension of the rules?
Bilski?
Yes.
Foster? Madden?
Yes.
Perry? Allner?
Yes.
Vincent? Silver?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2024-11?
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Ryan. I will second that. Anna, please call roll.
Bilski?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Madden?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes.
Allner?
Yes.
Vincent?
Yes.
Silver?
Yes. Moving on. Ordinance 2024-12, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District and declaring an emergency. This is on for second reading. We did discuss this last week. Any additional questions or comments from anyone? All right, I assume we'll vote on that next meeting then. I gotta catch up here.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Stuff in here.
All right, resolution 2024-6, a resolution adopting the 2025 Orange Village alternative tax budget. Dana, do you want to speak to this one? Do I need to read the resolution?
You can read the caption.
This is the 2025 alternative tax budget. It's an annual budget that we do every year. It starts the process for the budgeting, and it sets the property tax rates for the village per the levies. So we currently have 7 mills on of property taxes for the village. It's remaining the same. There's been no change through here. The tax budget also allows us to get local government funds, and it starts the revenue process of the 2025 budget. Does not appropriate anything. That process starts later in the year. This is just the first step for 2025. And the county is requesting that I get the budget to them by July 19th.
Any questions or comments? All right, Anna, will you please call roll?
Bilski,
Yes. Do we need to call roll for a res? Oh.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Stacy, is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Brian. Sorry about that.
sorry. Okay. Bilski. Foster,
Yes.
Madden. Perry.
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. Resolution 2024-7. This one is fairly long, but I do want to read the whole thing, so bear with me. This is a resolution of Orange Village, County of Cuyahoga, urging the Cuyahoga County Council not to pass a resolution urging the county executive and county treasurer to divest from Israel and declaring an emergency. Whereas the Development Corporation for Israel, which issues securities that are commonly known as Israel bonds, has played a role in Israel's high-tech, clean tech, and biotech development. And whereas in 2006, Cuyahoga County first established a $5 million investment in Israel bonds, whereas since 2006, Cuyahoga County has invested a total of $16 million in Israel bonds, and whereas Cuyahoga County is among several Ohio counties, along with the Treasurer of State, have invested in Israel bonds, and whereas Israel bonds have and continue to be a strong investment for Cuyahoga County and the state of Ohio, providing strength and balance to investment portfolios, and whereas this council finds that calling for the boycott and divestment of Israel is a form of anti-Semitism, and that the Israel bonds are a solid investment, and whereas this council further finds that divesting from Israel effectively rejects or ignores the Jewish people's right to self-determination, and whereas divesting from Israel on a large scale could contribute to the eradication of the world's only Jewish state, which was founded as a country that is safe for Jewish people to inhabit without fear of government attempting to kill them for merely being of Jewish descent, and whereas calls to divest from Israel began in the year 2000 at the start of the Second Palestinian Intifada, and Israel's opponents have analogized and continue to analogize Israel's self-defense to apartheid South Africa, and whereas the analogy fails on many levels, not least of which is that Israel protects the rights of individuals of any faith and no faith, while Hamas militant actions of Gaza tortured, raped, and killed over 1,200 people indiscriminately on October 7, 2023, irrespective of the identity of the victims, merely because the victims were located in Israel and took over 230 civilians as hostages. And whereas Israel stands at the center of the Middle East as a bastion of a rights-respecting country worthy of the support of the American government and private individuals, and whereas divestment from Israel is not moral and that it would be perceived as condemning a democratic, rights-respecting country in the Middle East in support of others who do not respect the rights of individuals to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, and whereas it is in the long-term rational interest for the United States, including its residents and Orange Village, to support Israel in its self-defense against our common enemies whose stated intention is the destruction of Israel. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Council of Orange Village, Cuyahoga County, State of Ohio, Section 1, that Chris Ronyen and Michael Chambers, as the county executive and the county fiscal officer respectively, are urged to reject any pressure to divest the funds of Cuyahoga County from Israel bonds, which are both good economic investments and moral. Section 2, that the clerk of council shall forthwith forward copies of this resolution to Chris Ronian and Michael W. Chambers and each member of the county council of Cuyahoga County. Section 3, that the imminence of this decision by Cuyahoga County on the question of divestment from Israel bonds necessitates this resolution being immediately effective so that the responsible decision makers understand the moral importance of continuing to invest in Israel bonds, wherefore this resolution shall be effective immediately. Does anyone have any other questions or comments on this?
Just a small journalistic thing. And whereas the analogy fails paragraph, just changing the wording from over to more than in both cases. And just to add a comma after we're located in Israel to clarify that took 230 civilians as hostages is a separate phrase. Thank you.
Me, those comments, please?
Yeah.
Sorry. I have one. On page 2, line 2, whereas the divestment from Israel is not moral in that it would be perceived as condemning instead of a democratic rights respecting country in the Middle East, Israel is the only democratic rights respecting country in the Middle East. So I would take out a and I would replace it with the only.
From different comments.
It's a matter of
The
opinion,
version
isn't
I
it?
have says condemning one of the only rights respected.
Well, the one I'm looking at now says it has, the word democratic is added now. And I'm fairly confident that Israel is the only democratic rights respecting country in the Middle East. I feel confident enough to say it in a public forum.
Okay.
So we're going with one of the only or the only?
I think that makes a statement to the council and
Understanding is they were not moving forward with this anyways, but I think it is important that we still pass this to send the message. And Kim, I want to thank you for kind of taking the initiative to push this through at last week's meeting, so. Any other comments? All right, I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-7. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kim. Anna, please call roll.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Silver.
Yes. Moving on, are there any audience comments relating to matters which advance the good of the village? You know the drill.
Hi, Amanda Kurland, 150 Valencia Circle. The really simple thing is I just want to beg everyone to speak into the mic when we're doing any of these, because I was watching the last several council meetings and I miss bits and pieces because there's just nothing. So if you guys can all make an effort, I appreciate it. The other thing is I really want to thank everyone on council for this resolution 2024-7. I think it's really important, and I really hope that other municipalities take up and do the exact same thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jim Boyle, 31399 Fairview Drive. I share in Ms. Kurland's comments on 2024-7. As a former employee, sorry, I should speak into the mic. As a former employee of the county council up until December of this year, I got to be honest, I'm a little disappointed that this was introduced and even got a second. I'm pleased to know that our representative is not a co-sponsor, and I assume will not be voting in favor of it. That being said, that's not why I'm here to speak. I'm really troubled by what's going on with the church property and the, I don't want to say the gamesmanship, but the clear out of norm manner in which this is flowing through our process. And that being said, the variance in the zoning are two separate issues. They are not the same issue. Yes, they're related, but they are not the same issue. Both in our charter and in our code, we have the provisions in how a variance is passed. And it is not passed by law director's edict or by any manner. The court can certainly send it back to this council to vote on it, and to look at it and to make decisions, but we as the public have a right to know where our council members stand on this issue. That's why we have open meetings, that's why we have the obligation to have these matters heard, discussed, and voted upon in the public. That evidently hasn't happened here, and I'm not sure why. When I hear the commentary to avoid expensive litigation, I get troubled. We aren't even in litigation. What had happened was a notice of appeal had been filed. A brief hasn't even been filed. We don't even know what their argument is. None of that has happened, and yet this body decided they were folding up their cards and walking out. I don't know why 2 members recused themselves. I assume there's conflicts, but I'm sure the law director has apprised you that that conflict and the manner in which it flows means that if you have a conflict, you cannot participate in any aspect of it, up to and including the vote. You cannot participate in the conversations. You must recuse yourself from all aspects of it. When I heard the commentary that perhaps there were ethical matters involved, I'm assuming that's what this is relating to. When I see this thing, and I look at what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be giving the public what they understand. They have an obligation to come to the meetings to understand what happens and to call the members and say, hey, vote this way, don't vote this way. When this happens behind closed doors, that's not going to work. And quite frankly, what's in that opinion that was signed yesterday is not good law. And I think the law director will certainly side with me on this thing. You're going to be in litigation one way or the other on this thing. You're either going to be fending off Tony Coyne telling you that the variance was denied for improper reasons, or you're going to be dealing with me or some other lawyers that I've already consulted with saying that this is a clear violation of the Sunshine Laws and that this matter needs to come back to this body to vote. That has to happen. You cannot just simply do these things. We left here on May 1st with this was not approved. Our rules are very clear. You need 4 affirmative votes to pass. It did not get it. And I don't understand why this is so complicated and why I read the entry submitted to the court indicating the facts warrant the granting of the variance, which are agreed to by the parties. You guys are the parties. You did not agree to that variance. That variance did not pass. And if you now say that it passes, that's a conversation that cannot happen behind closed doors, but must happen in this body. Second paragraph that I have trouble with, the conditions of variance contained in this judgment and were and are agreeable to KJI and Orange Village. That's not what you guys voted on. Your vote is what your action is on this variance. And that is something that this body is going to have to rectify in this room. You guys are going to have to bring this back and vote on it. It's not that big a deal. It's not going to impact the timeline of what I think this project at least is set up to have, but it needs to come back here so that the public, the residents, have an opportunity to hear where their representatives stand on this issue. Because right now, I don't know what the record's going to show. It failed 3-2 to 2. That's it. There's nothing else. We don't have anything else to go on. What happened? Except a journal entry saying that magically it's now agreed to. That's not the way this works. So I also look at this from a moral complex, which is, I'm I guess one house away from notification for this variance. But my neighbors knew nothing about this until we saw the article in the paper. That's what we learned. We got an all citizens blast saying that it was coming up for a vote. We got nothing saying that it's magically now resolved. None of them were notified. They left here thinking it had failed. And knowing that it couldn't come back as a variance, perhaps on a motion for reconsideration, but I didn't see any of that, but it could only come back if there were substantial changes to it pursuant to 114206F. I don't know what the avenue out of this is, but this is not it. So, look, you guys are probably going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what the path is, but clearly this matter has gone on a very odd, peculiar, and in my opinion, I think the law director will agree, improper path. It's going to have to be corrected.
Thank you. Either
Up to the,
come up to the microphone if you have more if you have a comment. Please state your name and address when you get up there.
Jim Stahl, 30499 Jackson Road. A question: do the no parking anytime signs along land and other roads apply to landscaping trucks?
That's a good question.
I think there have been times where people park on the street. I don't think we enforce it strictly. I'm looking to the police department.
Yeah, to me,
Reasonable.
a 3-minute stop by Amazon's one thing, but when they park for an hour, and especially Lander Road's one that bothers me, with the hills, you got one that parks sort of the hills, you can't see past them. It's an accident waiting to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd appreciate it if you could.
Thank you. Comments? All right, moving on. Mayor Klein, any comments?
First of all, I want to correct a mistake in the e-news. The concert at the amphitheater is actually Tuesday, June 25th, not the 20th, as stated in the letter. Join me on Tuesday, June 25th, to listen to Rubber Soul, a Beatles tribute band. The event will take place rain or shine. The community-wide survey is set to go live tomorrow. I know there might be a couple edits, so hopefully it will get out tomorrow. The website, visit our website to access the survey. If you would like a printed version, please contact someone at the Village Hall at 440-287-5131. The last day to sign up for the community-wide garage sale is Friday, June 14th. We currently have 22 homes participating. The sales are Saturday and Sunday, June 22nd and 23rd, from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. Flag Day is June 14th. Let's all celebrate the flag. Father's Day is this weekend. I wish everyone a happy Father's Day. Please note the Village Hall will be closed on Wednesday, June 19th, in observance of Juneteenth. Please remember, as the 4th of July is approaching, that fireworks are illegal in Orange Village, so don't set them off. I also want to report, as I mentioned briefly earlier, I spent the day in Columbus meeting with our legislators and other mayors from around the state, and a number of issues were discussed and presented, not the least of which was a major housing crisis in Ohio that has come about in large part because the cost of real estate is so high and the availability of it is so low. There's a lot of discussion going on, as you all will be receiving your updated real estate tax appraisals for this year coming up shortly. There's a lot of discussion in Columbus and the legislature as to how that will be apportioned as it relates to the real estate tax that you will actually be paying for your increased value of the property. Some communities, you may have heard, Geauga County indicated that they weren't going to be collecting the additional tax arising from the increased property values. Also discussed was that there is an energy tax credit for cities that can come in the form of direct payments to governmental entities. As we go forward with projects related to the Village Hall, we have an opportunity to install photovoltaic systems and other energy devices that we could get credit for. A presentation by the Bureau of Justice Assistance Public Safety Partnership Program for local police departments was introduced to plan and develop wraparound services and provide experts for local communities. I hope we'll be able to take advantage of that. I also want to thank Dana and Dan Ding for their exceptional work in leading the process of our audit. They were exceptionally timely and efficient in collecting all the documentation that's necessary for that audit that resulted in the clean report that you heard about this evening. I also want to thank our public members who came today to express their concerns. I hope that we will see them in the future as well. And that concludes my comments.
All right, thank you. My only comment is, I know, and I think this has come up before, and I want to bring it up again in light of some recent news regarding the city of Cleveland, how their city hall was victimized. Well, they're not saying much, but was closed due to a cyber incident, they're calling it. They're not saying much, but I just want to make sure that we have the necessary cybersecurity in place, that we can be confident that we will not be victimized by this. And I don't know who I'm asking this of, but if anyone wants to address that.
I can a little bit. I talked to Nick DeSico, who is our tech person in the village, and I put him in touch with the National Cybersecurity Program local representative. They have, and they're looking to work with local and small communities to enable them to be protected from these kinds of events. So I'll, look to Nick and see if he's had any further progress with that discussion.
Is that just this week you talked to him, or prior to this?
This was prior.
Okay. Okay, yeah, if you could follow up with him, I would appreciate that. Just given recent incidences, and City of Cleveland was certainly not the first municipality to be impacted by this. Moving on to comments by council members. Ryan Bilski.
No comments.
Jeff Foster. No comments. Phil Madden.
No comments.
Lisa Perry.
No comments.
Kim Olner.
So first of all, I would like, if it's possible, for us to see what's on the survey before it goes out. And maybe I missed it somehow, and maybe I did. It's been an exceptionally busy time for me, but I think a survey is only as good as the questions that are asked, and perhaps other council members have things that we would like to see on there. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and forgive me, I don't know the proper protocol on this, but I think it would be appropriate for Orange Village to have a secondary law firm. It would be appropriate, in my opinion, for Orange Village to have a secondary law firm that we can go to for advice when Mr. Byron has a conflict of interest. My limited view, and limited to 6 months, is that if a conflict of interest is disclosed, and again, I'm not suggesting that Mr. Byron has done anything wrong and not disclosed them, that then an automatic waiver is granted, which, in my opinion, as an attorney, puts us at a disadvantage. So when there is a conflict of interest, I do believe it would be helpful if we had another attorney that Orange Village would go to for those matters.
Comment on that, Steve?
Certainly within council's authority to do that. Defer to council's discretion on whether they believe that that's necessary.
Okay.
Given
It'd kind of be on a case-by-case basis, I would assume. Okay. Good thought.
I think it's extremely important, and I would think that going forward, that is exactly what needs to happen.
Anything else, Kim?
No, thank you.
Stacy?
Along the lines of what Brent said, just make sure if you get a link, don't open it unless you're 100% sure where it came from and what it is. There have been a couple, not just the City of Cleveland, that have gone around too lately. Just don't open the links. Planning and Zoning meets next Tuesday at 6:30 for anyone who's interested. School report, the board met on Monday. There were multiple state-level recognitions with reports by each of the principals wrapping up the school year. The board approved a new 3-year contract with OPSI, which includes bus drivers, maintenance, custodial, and food service employees. Construction is now fully underway. If you drive by the stadium parking lot on Chagrin, you're likely to see huge rolls of new turf. It looks like giant carpeting waiting placement on the field. I saw them starting to unroll those today. The east end of the high school will remain closed for the foreseeable future as construction is underway in the second floor classrooms, the main office area, and the new elevator shaft, among other areas. They announced that water line construction is scheduled for the fall on the line that runs under the stadium parking lot past PPLC and over to the maintenance building. Some of you have been by there when it's been flooded. It's an old line that will come up for repairs in the fall. Brady Roof Repair Project is also underway, so there's lots of projects going on. There was also a discussion about the issue of campus access for community members walking their dogs and others walking the campus. It's a beautiful park-like setting, as most of you know. Two issues are being looked into on the policy as it's stated. The definition of what actually constitutes the trails on campus and the issue of worrying about permission to do so, quote, when students are not present. In other words, is it just during the school day? Is it when students aren't around? Because a lot of times students are around after the school day. So they're looking for some clarification on both of those. It'll probably go before the policy committee. So if you have any thoughts, please feel free to share it with the superintendent or anyone on the school board. The next Board of Education meeting will be on June 24th, followed by the only July meeting on July 15th. In case you missed it in the excitement of the end of the school year, the governor announced that the Ohio 2024 sales tax holiday will take place not just a weekend from July 30th until August 8th. So if you're in need of new school clothes and supplies, get your list ready now to save money at the end of next month. In addition to the wonderful events that Mayor Klein mentioned coming up this summer, I want to remind everyone about the Pinecrest Summer Concert Series, as well as family play events. All are listed on the Pinecrest website. This Friday, our neighbors to the north will mark Juneteenth a few days early. Mayor Holbert is inviting everyone to Woodmere's celebration on Friday, June 14th from 6 to 10 at the gazebo there. It will feature live music, local vendors, food trucks, and a variety of activities, including a mechanical bull and pony rides. Special performances by DJ Lily Jade and a visit by Ahmad Crump from the Cleveland Cavaliers will also highlight the evening. Mayor Holbert invites all those in Orange Village to celebrate freedom, community, and culture with our friends in Woodmere. A reminder to share the names of any residents that you think might make a great slice of orange for future newsletters. Please email those to me at vincents@orangevillage.com. A very happy Flag Day birthday to my dad, and a happy Father's Day weekend to all of the dads, grandfathers, surrogate fathers, and wonderful men in our lives, including those on council.
Just want to add to your note about the tax,
Sales tax holiday.
sales tax holiday. It doesn't just apply to school items. It applies to all purchased items.
Thank you. Do I need a motion? Do I need a motion to
I
adjourn?
think there are some limits.
There are monetary limits on the,
There's a $500 monetary limit.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. All right. I will make a motion to adjourn the council meeting of June 12th, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
Stacy, Anna, please call roll.
Bilski,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Madden, Perry,
Yes.
Allner,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Vincent.
Yes.